There is one tour here in Disney World that I have always wanted to do, and even though it is not very expensive at all, I've never been able to get myself to do it. But today, that is changing. I am here in EPCOT at the Land Pavilion to do the behind the scenes tour. So there's one thing that makes tours better, and that's doing it with friends. I'm here with Next Stop Churro Cart. We are so excited to do this tour together. We talked about how we all of us have wanted to do it, and we're finally here. And we might be slightly late for check-in, but that's okay. We've got our backstage passes. We are ready to go. We checked in probably around 12:18 or so. They ask you to do it about 15 minutes before the tour. And then they do say they recommend using the restroom beforehand, and then you all meet up about 5 minutes before the tour starts. So we're just hanging out for the next minute, and then we'll be ready to go. I've also been told that Tyler doesn't have a bunch of love for living with the land. I love living with the land, but we'll see if this tour maybe changes his mind.
It's all about the people mover. It's all about the people mover.
But the people, that's real. That's real. Now they did just say we are able to record and take as many photos and videos as you want. This is the only tour that allows you to do that. So extra special. I am going ahead and recording this voiceover as I re-watched the video for the first time since I've been on the tour, so let's see how much I actually remember. We started out in a room with a bunch of small plants in it, and our guide was telling us about some of the insects that are around with the different plants and how they interact with the environment and how they help keep everything healthy. They also played this video, which was actually kind of graphic in my eyes. It was a little gross. If you have some phobias, it was probably not very good for you. I enjoyed it, but it was a little at times, which was interesting. This was cool to start off. He handed us over one of the leaves so we could kind of see what impact the insects actually have on them. So those lines that you see are the actual pathways that the insects that are born inside the leaves take in order to continue to get out. Yep. Fit check with the listening device, indeed. This is also too, we were hearing him in our ear, so it was really like, poor Nelson who's editing this was like, I have no idea what's happening. So hence the voiceover. Another fun little video, more about the plants, but we had moved to look and see some of what's being grown. So we've got dragon fruit, stevia, sundew, lily. That was super cool. I also really liked the purple lighting. Something I really loved about this tour, as you can see in front of us, there are two little ones. This is really family friendly, which I really loved. Go into the first section, we're waving hello to the Living at the Land people on the boat. This group was not enthused. They could not have cared less that we were on the tour, but we started over in this area. Got to see some of the hanging plants. These were some of the most fascinating to me to see how they slowly move. Just this different style of agriculture was incredible, and obviously it works really well for them because they get so much produce and so much out of it every day. Just incredible to see. I was apparently really fascinated by these, but I think it's because they're hanging. They are hanging plants. How cool is that? And they're all different types, which I think, oh, they were the Brussels sprouts. I'm not a fan of Brussels sprouts, so I wasn't a fan of those. This group was a little bit more excited to see us. Oh, there's some of the water that's dripping out. So they were telling us how it's being irrigated from above, and so then the leftover water just drips down. Yes, Stanley. We were all told to come up to Stanley and like scare Stanley, literally scare the plant to see how it would react. When you go ahead and touch the plant, they're going to close in. As you can see it sort of happening here, it's really, really neat. I felt really bad touching, there it goes. I felt really, really bad touching Stanley because, I don't know, I just felt like I was invasive. So he went ahead and scared the plant as a whole. So we literally watched as all of the leaves closed up into each other. So when it was something as disruptive as that, really, really neat. It was one of my favorite parts of the whole tour. And our tour guide was like, hey, when we come back here later, we're gonna see it back open again. This was a really cool exercise where we were all we were seeing some of the materials that are used and kind of got to open them up, smell them a little bit.
And then we got some fresh cucumber. This was fantastic. It was genuinely really delicious, and I got to have an extra one. It was delicious. Absolutely loved it. Super fresh. Cucumbers aren't like my favorite, but it was super fresh and I really enjoyed it. On to the next section. Something else that's really fascinating is you can literally see the nutrient tank ingredients. This is what they use for the large majority of the plants that are inside, and they have it listed right there. So you at home could look at that and just recreate it if you wanted to. Obviously, it works for them very well here. The spinning, this is so cool. I think this is so innovative and incredible, and getting to be like up close to it rather than just riding on the ride was fantastic. This is a massive tomato vine, and I loved it. I know some people are tomato haters. I love tomatoes, so that was really cool for me to see. Some more living with the land. That was the accessible vehicle, which I thought was really neat. I always love seeing the accessible vehicles. These greenhouses too, I was also really impressed. Granted, it wasn't a super hot day when we were there, but it was really comfortable. Here we are seeing some more, growing them in tubes. That's how we get the Mickey-shaped cucumbers, which is so exciting. Super neat. Also, shout out to our guide. He was absolutely incredible. I loved his energy the entire time. He had like this dry humor that cracked me up. Also, look at these massive pumpkins. Did you see those massive pumpkins? Huge. Also, I didn't know that pumpkins grew like that. I don't know if I'm just silly, but I did not know. And then we got a chance to sit and drink some water if we wanted to before it was time for our next lesson. This is, the irrigation system. In case you can't tell, Nelson has also done this tour, so he went back and referred to his notes. So thank you, Nelson. Everyone say thank you, Nelson. He's an incredible editor. We've got just massive, absolutely massive. Those are lemons, by the way. Those are lemons. And I remember asking that 3 times because I did not believe it. Those were lemons. I did not know they could get that big. And if for some reason I'm wrong, I'm just gonna be really embarrassed, but I really do think they are. These were also super fun. Just like different stages of growth. Super neat. I think this was the most I've ever loved the color green in my life, to be honest with you. Also got some beautiful blooms on the flowers here. Those also, it was my ADHD. I was like, oh, I know we're here to talk about the food that grows here, but look at those flowers. I also really love, we talked about the sand as well, like what areas are used, they use sand in versus other material elsewhere. Oh, and then there's cotton. We walked past cotton, which was obviously not to be eaten, but also just an incredible resource. So neat. And then we were walking into where the fish are. This is one of the coolest, this is one of my favorite parts going in, like walking through the ride or riding the ride. They did look to be a little bit short on fish. I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of the tanks, it looked like they were decently short on them, but it was festival time. So there were probably a lot of booths that were using it. And if they weren't concerned, they did not seem concerned. See, this is one I'm filming here. So there are more in this one, but they're small. And with the lighting and their reflection, it was a little hard to see them. But there were a lot in that tank. He's talking here about how sometimes they crossbreed the different types of fish to make us stronger, to get the admirable traits from each one. So that's kind of what we were discussing with this breed right here. He also told us about how if you are ever going to a restaurant and you're concerned if the fish that you are eating is from a sustainable source, there's a website that you can look up to see if the restaurant you are at is getting their fish sustainably, if that's something that you are concerned about, which I thought was a really, really neat resource. I personally don't eat fish. I just can't do it. Bananas! Sorry. I personally don't eat fish, but I thought that was a really, really neat resource moment. Okay, apparently I'm obsessed with these leaves right now. I don't really know why I'm obsessed with that. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's because they're bananas. I am a fan of bananas. Now we're getting to what was one of my other favorite parts of the tour because it was just it was a really cool, like, immersive moment. So our guide went ahead and brought out a few different spices, and we all had to work together to put the spices in order of what we felt was the most to least expensive. And it was cool because genuinely everyone kind of got involved on it. Also, even though Anna's looking at her phone, she was not cheating. She was not looking it up. But we were, kind of going off of what we thought, what did we know. So this was our final answer. And we were saying, yep, that's what we think. But then he went ahead and put them back in the order that they were the most expensive. So we were so close. We only had one wrong. And it was insane to hear about the cost of some of these. Like saffron, hearing this in real time, I about lost my mind. It was absolutely wild to realize that this small thing that it goes in so much, this small spice, can cost so much. So selfishly, I'm glad that I'm not that obsessed with saffron, or I don't eat a lot of stuff that has it in it that I notice, because I'm assuming those dishes are expensive. That was also where we got to do a really cool photo op in this area, which was really, really neat. I would say it's definitely the most picturesque area. I'm back with these bananas, y'all. Fun fact, banana bread is one of my favorite things ever. I think I'm actually gonna make it in a few days because I have the stuff to make it. You didn't need to know that, but now you do. Pretty pink flowers, absolutely love them. They were gorgeous. And then yellow, the yellow ones were also stunning. Oh, we're getting back to Stanley. We're getting back to Stanley to see how he's doing. And sure enough, he's totally fine. Totally back to normal. Absolutely an amazing adaptive technique. I mean, plants are just incredible. I can't keep them alive, no matter how hard I try.
We just finished the behind the scenes tour. It was so much fun.
Awesome.
We really, really enjoyed it. So, Anne, what was your favorite part of it?
Yes. When we walked into the last greenhouse, I think that was my favorite part. So Andy was telling us, and that was our tour guide.
He was amazing.
He was awesome. He was telling us that 80% of the edibility that comes out of the greenhouses comes out of the final greenhouse, which is the first one you enter in when you go into the ride.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
Tyler, for you?
So I really like going through where the fish are in their tanks and everything like that, just because I feel like it's super loud in there when you're riding the ride itself. It's hard to hear, and it's such a brief part of the attraction that you miss so much of that info. And so to really get the deep dive, no pun intended, but to really get the deep dive of the fish and why they're in the tanks and how they have them set up, so cool.
Yes, I would say for me, I really loved getting to see the 4 different types of bananas that are grown in there.
Oh, yeah.
And they talked about how 5 restaurants here on Disney World property are pretty much solely, the food there is from Living with the Land.
Yep.
However, outside of those 5 restaurants, Be Our Guest is not one of those. 0.5 of the food at Be Our Guest comes from here. But at those 5 restaurants, it's all from here, which I thought was really cool. And composting is huge. So Garden Grill is one of the restaurants that is basically everything is from here. So you don't have to worry about food waste. They're gonna compost everything. If you don't eat entirely of something, that's okay. You don't have to worry about it. I just love how sustainability is a really, really big part of that. And he did say that because they have they're platinum for sustainability, and the goal is to get the entirety of Disney World at platinum by 2030. So crazy.
Yes.
So much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. All of my socials are in the description. Please check out Next Stop Churro Cart. All of their socials are in the description as well. Love you all. Bye.